What if I told you that you already have everything you need to be successful? That within your mind there is an ancient code, tested by emperors, slaves, and philosophers over 2,000 years, capable of transforming any life into a story of true triumph? You're about to discover why people who seemingly have it all live empty and anxious lives, while others, even in the face of brutal adversity, radiate a peace and strength that seems supernatural. The difference is not luck, talent, or circumstances. It's something much deeper and more powerful. My name is your name, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to unlock in your mind 10 Stoic codes that the great masters of antiquity used to create extraordinary lives. Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire in history while facing wars and plagues. Seneca amassed unimaginable wealth and political influence while remaining balanced. Epictetus transformed slavery into wisdom and became one of the greatest masters who ever lived. They were not superhuman. They knew mental codes that you are about to discover. In this video, I will break down every mental barrier that is preventing you from achieving true success. Not the superficial success that crumbles at the first crisis, but the solid, lasting success that brings inner peace and concrete achievements at the same time. You will leave here transformed. Your mind will operate differently. Your problems will seem smaller. Your opportunities will become clearer. And most importantly, you will finally understand that the power to create the life you want has always been in your hands. But I must warn you, what you're about to discover will go against everything modern society has taught you about success. It will challenge your deepest beliefs. And it will require you to have the courage to choose a different path than most. If you are ready for this journey of total transformation, then let's start by unlocking the first code that will revolutionize your relationship with success forever. What does success really mean according to the Stoics? The first code that needs to be unlocked in your mind is perhaps the most revolutionary of all. You have been programmed to desire the wrong kind of success. Modern society has created a collective illusion. They have made us believe that success means money in the bank, followers on social media, imported cars, and public recognition. And that is why millions of people live chasing ghosts, thinking that they will be happy when they reach the next external goal. But here's the brutal truth that few have the courage to admit. You know successful people who are miserable. They have everything that society says should bring happiness, but they live anxious, dissatisfied, always needing more validation, more achievements, more recognition. The Stoics discovered 2,000 years ago what modern neuroscience is confirming: success based solely on external factors is a psychological prison. It's an emotional roller coaster that never stops. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at the time, wrote in his personal journals, "How small are all the things that disturb or delight men." He had everything you could imagine as external success, but he knew that true success lay elsewhere. Stoic success is based on 4 unbreakable pillars: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These are the only things that no one can take away from you. Economic crises cannot destroy your wisdom. Betrayals cannot rob you of your justice. Failures cannot eliminate your courage. And external changes cannot break your temperance. When you build your life on these pillars, something magical happens. External success becomes a natural consequence, not a desperate obsession. You act with mental clarity, make better decisions, relate more authentically, and, paradoxically, attract more opportunities because you are not desperate for them. Think about the most well-rounded, successful person you know. I bet they don't run around chasing external validation. They have an inner strength that is magnetic. People gravitate toward them because they radiate something that can't be bought or faked: character. Now stop and ask yourself this fundamental question: what do I really want to achieve in life? Not what your parents want, not what society expects, not what your insecurities demand. What does your heart, free from conditioning, truly desire? When you can answer this question with complete honesty, you will have unlocked the first code. But for this transformation to be complete, you need to master the art of focusing only on where you have real power to change. And that's exactly what the second code will reveal to you. Focus on what is in your control. Get ready to discover the most liberating code there is, the dichotomy of control. This single idea has the power to eliminate 90% of your anxiety and multiply your effectiveness tenfold. Epictetus, who spent years as a slave before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers, discovered a truth that changed his life and could change yours. Some things are completely within our control, others are not at all. Within our control are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, in short, everything that is our own doing. Not under our control are our bodies, our property, our reputation, our position, in short, everything that is not our doing. It sounds simple, but this distinction is revolutionary. Most people waste 80% of their mental energy worrying and trying to control things that are completely out of their control. And the remaining 20% of their energy isn't enough to create real change where they actually have the power. Imagine a businessman who spends sleepless nights worrying about the country's economy, government decisions, or what his competitors are doing. That mental energy could be directed toward improving his products, training his team, or developing innovative strategies. But he's mentally exhausted from tilting at windmills. Now imagine another entrepreneur who accepts that he cannot control the economy, but focuses intensely on how he can prepare his company for any scenario. He studies trends, develops multiple revenue streams, builds strong relationships. When the crisis hits, he is prepared. When the opportunity arises, he is positioned. This is the power of the dichotomy of control and action. But how do you apply this in practice? First, you need to take an honest mental inventory. Take your 3 biggest current worries and sort them into 3 categories. Completely controllable, your actions, decisions, attitudes, effort, preparation. Partially influenceable, relationships, long-term results, opportunities you can create. Completely uncontrollable, other people's actions, economic changes, global events, the past. Starting today, every time you feel anxious or frustrated, ask yourself this question: is this within my control? If it isn't, you have 2 options: accept it completely or find an aspect of the situation that you can influence. Did your girlfriend break up with you? You can't control her decision, but you can control how you recover, what you learn from the experience, and how you become a better person. Have you been laid off? You can't change the company's decision, but you can control how you spend your time, what skills you develop, and how you position yourself for the next opportunity. When you master this code, something extraordinary happens. You stop being a leaf in the wind and become the architect of your own life. But there is a third, even more powerful code waiting for you. What if I told you that your biggest obstacles are actually your greatest gifts in disguise? This third code will blow your mind. Every obstacle you face is a gift in disguise, waiting to be unwrapped by someone brave enough to see beyond the surface. Marcus Aurelius, writing during one of the most devastating plagues in history, left this pearl of wisdom: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He wasn't being poetic. He was revealing a fundamental law of the universe that few can see. Think about it, every great success story you know has one thing in common. It's not the absence of problems. It's the transformation of problems into springboards. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he founded. He could have played the victim, blamed others, and given up. Instead, he used this tragedy to create Pixar and reinvent himself as an entrepreneur. When he returned to Apple, he was ready to lead the greatest technological revolution in history. The obstacle became the path. Oprah was rejected as a television anchor because she was unfit for TV. This rejection forced her to find her own authentic style, which revolutionized the world of media. What seemed like an end became a beginning. But how can you apply this transformative mindset to your life? The secret lies in 3 powerful questions that you should ask yourself every time you face a challenge. First question: what skill is this challenge forcing me to develop? Maybe it's resilience, creativity, patience, leadership, or adaptability. Every obstacle is a personal trainer in disguise, developing muscles you didn't even know you needed. Second question: what hidden opportunities is this problem revealing? Crises open up gaps in the market. Rejections point you in the right direction. Failures eliminate strategies that didn't work, freeing up energy for those that do. Third question: how can I use this experience to help others in the future? Your pain today may be someone's healing tomorrow. Your mistakes may be the warnings that save others from making the same mistakes. The global pandemic is a perfect example. Millions of people saw only destruction. But some saw opportunity. They created digital businesses, developed new skills, strengthened family relationships, discovered passions that had been dormant. The difference was not in the external situation. It was in the internal perspective. When you master this code, you become anti-fragile. You don't just weather the storms, you grow stronger from them. Every blow makes you smarter. Every fall teaches you better balance. Every no brings you closer to the right yes. But here's what few realize: to consistently turn obstacles into opportunities, you first need to discipline something very specific within yourself. And that something is what the 4th code will reveal. We have reached the most challenging and liberating code of all, the discipline of desire. Get ready to discover why most people live in an invisible prison created by their own desires. Here's a truth no one wants to hear: you are more of a slave to your desires than you realize. Every time you think, "I would be happy if," you are putting your peace of mind in the hands of external factors. And that is a guaranteed recipe for perpetual suffering. Epictetus, who knew literal slavery, taught something revolutionary: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. He discovered that true freedom comes not from getting everything you want, but from wanting what you already have. This does not mean conformity or mediocrity. It means something much deeper and more powerful: alignment between expectation and reality. Think about the last time you achieved something you really wanted. A job, a relationship, a major purchase. How long did that satisfaction last before you started focusing on the next thing you wanted? Probably a few weeks, maybe a few months. This happens because our minds have been programmed to always want more. It's a survival mechanism that worked when we lived in caves, but has become psychological torture in the modern era. Consumer society has exploited this programming and turned it into a weapon against you. It has convinced you that you need more to be happy, more to be loved, more to have value. And so you are running on an endless treadmill, always chasing the next acquisition, the next achievement, the next validation. But there is a way out. And it starts with a revolutionary practice: daily, specific gratitude. Every day, before you think about what you want, take 5 minutes to specifically acknowledge what you already have. Not "I'm grateful for my family," but "I'm grateful for having a mom who calls me every week to worry about me." Not "I'm grateful for my health," but "I'm grateful for being able to walk, breathe without difficulty, and wake up feeling refreshed." This practice reconnects you with the abundance that already exists in your life, but has become invisible through habit. The second step is to distinguish between real needs and conditioned whims. You need shelter, nutritious food, healthy relationships, and purpose. You don't need the approval of strangers on social media, the newest car, or the latest designer clothes. When you master the discipline of desire, something magical happens. You act out of choice, not compulsion. You pursue goals because they make sense, not because you're desperate for them. And this inner tranquility creates the perfect mental state for the 5th code to operate with maximum efficiency. The 5th code will seem counterintuitive, but it is secretly used by the world's greatest leaders, athletes, and entrepreneurs, to be truly strong, you need to embrace your vulnerability through mental fitness. This technique has an intimidating sounding Latin name, premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. But before you think that's pessimistic, let me show you why this is one of the most empowering practices out there. Seneca, one of the richest and most influential men in Rome, regularly practiced this exercise. Once a month, he lived as if he were poor, eating simple food, wearing basic clothing, sleeping on the floor. He was mentally preparing himself for the possibility of losing everything. And guess what happened? When he faced exile and the loss of his possessions, he not only survived, but he maintained his dignity and wisdom intact. Mental preparation isn't about expecting the worst. It's about removing the power fear has over you. Think of it this way: an airplane pilot constantly trains for emergency situations that he will probably never face. But this training does not make him pessimistic or fearful. It makes him confident, because he knows that he is prepared for any situation. The same principle applies to life. When you mentally rehearse how you would handle potential challenges, you are developing psychological muscles that make you more resilient and confident. But how do you practice this without becoming anxious or negative? Here's the exact method. First, choose an area of your life where you feel vulnerable. It could be professional, financial, relationship, or health. Second, take 10 minutes to calmly visualize a challenging scenario in that area. If you're an entrepreneur, imagine losing your biggest client. If you're in a relationship, imagine facing a serious crisis. Thirdly, and this is the crucial part, don't stop at the problem. Continue the visualization and see yourself dealing with the situation with dignity, wisdom, and strength. See yourself finding solutions, adapting, growing through adversity. Fourth, identify internal and external resources that you could mobilize in this situation. What skills do you have? Who could support you? What strategies could you use? This practice has powerful effects. First, it dramatically reduces anxiety, because you are no longer running away from vague fears. You have faced them mentally and discovered that you can deal with them. Second, it increases your genuine confidence, because it is no longer based on the illusion that nothing bad can happen, but on the certainty that you can handle anything that happens. Third, it makes you more prepared for opportunities, because you're not wasting mental energy worrying about potential problems. You've already processed them and are free to focus on growth. Elite athletes use this technique. Successful entrepreneurs plan for contingency scenarios. World leaders prepare for crises. But mental preparation only works fully when you understand that success is never a solitary journey. The sixth code will destroy one of the biggest lies of modern culture: the idea that you can be successful alone. The truth is that all great success is a collective effort, and the quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. But here's what most people do wrong: they approach relationships as transactions. What can this person do for me? How can I use this connection? What benefit can I get from this contact? This transactional mindset creates fragile, superficial, and temporary relationships. The moment you can no longer provide obvious value, these people disappear. The Stoics discovered something revolutionary: lasting, powerful relationships are built on shared virtue, not mutual interest. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best way to avenge an enemy is to be unlike him." He understood that character is magnetic. People with character naturally attract each other, while people without character create constant drama in their lives. Think about the people you most admire and trust. I bet they are people who consistently demonstrate honesty, loyalty, generosity, and authenticity. They are not perfect, but they have integrity. And that is exactly what makes them attractive as long-term partners. Now reflect, what kind of person are you being in your relationships? Are you focused on extracting value or creating value? Are you being the kind of person you would want to have a relationship with? Here's how to build relationships based on virtue. First, be genuinely helpful without expecting immediate return. Share knowledge, make connections between people, offer practical help. Do this consistently, without keeping a mental scoreboard of favors. Second, practice deep listening. In the age of constant distraction, giving someone your full attention has become a superpower. When you truly listen, not just wait for your turn to speak, you create deep, lasting connections. Third, be trustworthy in the little things. Show up on time. Deliver on promises. Respond to important messages. Trustworthiness in the details builds trust in the big things. Fourth, genuinely celebrate the successes of others. Envy and destructive competitiveness are poisons for relationships. When you can be genuinely happy for the successes of others, you become someone people want to share their victories with. Fifth, have difficult conversations with love and honesty. Shallow relationships avoid conflict. Deep relationships navigate it with maturity. When you build a network of relationships based on virtue, you create something money can't buy, a mutual support system that survives any storm. But even with the best relationships, there will be times when you feel overwhelmed by life's problems. And that's where the seventh code becomes crucial. The seventh code will blow your mind and free you from 99% of the unnecessary dramas that drain your energy, the cosmic perspective. Get ready to discover why you are wasting mental energy on microscopic problems while ignoring the gigantic opportunities around you. Marcus Aurelius practiced a mental exercise he called vision from on high. He imagined himself rising higher and higher, first above Rome, then above Italy, the continent, the planet, the solar system, the galaxy, until his everyday problems became invisible specks in the vastness of the cosmos. This wasn't escapism. It was strategy. When you can see your current difficulties from the perspective of time and space, something revolutionary happens. You stop wasting emotional energy on temporary issues and direct all your strength towards what really matters. Think about the issue that concerns you most right now. Now ask yourself this transformative question: will this matter in 10 years? If the answer is no, why are you allowing it to consume your peace of mind today? Most people live as if they were the center of the universe, as if every setback were a cosmic tragedy. They dramatize small situations, get offended by insignificant things, spend weeks ruminating on conversations that the other person has already forgotten. But when you develop cosmic perspective, you understand a liberating truth: you are simultaneously insignificant and extremely important. Insignificant on the scale of the universe, but extremely important in your own life and in the lives of the people you love. This seeming contradiction is actually the key to freedom. You stop taking everything personally because you understand that most things are not about you. And at the same time, you take full responsibility for your small but precious part in the grand scheme of things. Here's a practical exercise that will instantly change your perspective. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by a problem, close your eyes and imagine yourself looking at the situation from a spaceship. See yourself down there, dealing with this difficulty. Observe with compassion, but also with detachment. From this elevated perspective, ask yourself, what really matters here? What lesson do I need to learn? How can I grow through this experience? Cosmic perspective doesn't diminish your real problems, it eliminates your imaginary ones. And when you stop fighting ghosts, you have tremendous energy left over to build something extraordinary. But there is an even more powerful force waiting to be activated in your life. The eighth code will activate the most powerful force in the universe in your life: transformative gratitude. But be careful, I'm not talking about the superficial gratitude that everyone knows. I'm talking about a revolutionary practice that will completely rewire your mind for abundance. Most people practice passive gratitude. They say I'm grateful when something good happens, or make a generic mental list at the end of the year. This is better than nothing. but it's like trying to build muscle by doing one push-up a month. Active gratitude is different. It's a daily, specific, and strategic discipline that rewires your brain to spot opportunities where others see only problems. Seneca, one of the richest men in history, wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning that has come to an end." He understood that gratitude isn't just about celebrating good things, it's about finding hidden gifts in seemingly negative experiences. Here's how to practice active gratitude in a transformative way. First, be specific, not generic. Instead of "I'm grateful for my family," say, "I'm grateful that my sister texted me yesterday to ask how I was doing, and it made me feel like I have someone who cares about me even on my bad days." Second, practice preemptive gratitude. Before you leave the house, be grateful for the opportunities the day may bring. Before you go to sleep, be grateful for the challenges of the day, even if they were difficult, because they made you stronger. Third, find hidden gifts in negative experiences. That rejection forced you to improve. That criticism showed you a blind spot. That loss taught you the value of what you have. Fourth, actively express gratitude to others. Don't just feel it, communicate it. Send a message to someone who has made a difference in your life. That person will be happy, and you'll strengthen a valuable relationship. Fifth, use gratitude as a lens for opportunity. When you are genuinely grateful for what you have, your mind relaxes and becomes more creative. You stop operating in scarcity mode and start seeing possibilities everywhere. Neuroscience has proven that regular gratitude increases the production of dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters of well-being and motivation. Grateful people sleep better, have stronger relationships, are more creative, and yes, have more material success too. But gratitude alone is not enough. For it to translate into concrete results, you need to master the art of consistent action. And this is the ninth code that can change your life forever. The ninth code is where philosophy turns into concrete results, the discipline of consistent action guided by clear purpose. Get ready to discover why most people fail, not because of a lack of knowledge, but because of a lack of systematic implementation. Marcus Aurelius didn't become one of the greatest emperors in history by accident. He had a system. Every morning, he reviewed his principles and committed to living by them that day. Not just once, but every day for decades. This relentless consistency turned philosophy into real power. Here's a brutal truth: you already know everything you need to know to be successful. The problem isn't a lack of information, it's a lack of implementation. You know you should exercise, but you don't exercise consistently. You know you should study more, but you don't make a habit of it. You know you should build better relationships, but you don't consistently take action. The difference between successful people and frustrated people isn't IQ, luck, or opportunity. It's the ability to do simple things consistently, even when they don't feel like it. But how can you develop this discipline without becoming a robot? The secret is to connect your daily actions with a greater purpose that moves you. Purpose is not just about making money or being successful. Purpose is the answer to, why do I do what I do? What impact do I want to have on the world? How do I want to be remembered? When you have absolute clarity about your purpose, the actions you take stop being sacrifices and become investments in your future. You don't have to wake up early to exercise. You want to because it brings you closer to the person you want to become. Here is the practical system to implement this code. First, define your purpose in one clear statement. It doesn't have to be grandiose, it has to be true to you. I want to build a company that solves real problems. I want to be a present and inspiring father. I want to use my creativity to bring joy to people's lives. Second, identify the 3 to 5 daily actions that contribute most to this purpose. Be specific, not work more, but dedicate 2 hours per day to product development. Third, create a daily review system. Every day before you go to sleep, ask yourself, did I act on my purpose today? What can I improve on tomorrow? Fourth, celebrate small victories. Consistency is built on positive reinforcement. Every time you complete your actions for the day, mentally acknowledge that progress. But here's what few people understand. Consistent action works best when you stop fighting the natural rhythm of life. And that's the final code that will complete your transformation. We have reached the 10th and final code, the most profound of all, a more fatty, loving your destiny completely, including the waiting times, the failures, the deviations, and even the sufferings. This code will free you from the greatest source of modern anxiety, the desperate rush for instant results. Nietzsche, inspired by the Stoics, said, "My formula for human greatness is amor fati, to want nothing different, neither forward nor backward, nor in all eternity." Not only to endure what is necessary, still less to conceal it, but to love it. We live in a culture that is addicted to speed. Everything needs to be now, instant success, transformation in 30 days, millions before 30, perfect relationship on the first date. This obsession with speed is destroying the quality of our achievements and our peace of mind. Nature is not in a hurry, but everything happens in its own time. A tree does not try to grow faster than it can, it simply grows steadily, day after day, until it becomes majestic. A river does not despair of reaching the sea, it simply flows, bypassing obstacles, always finding a way. The natural timing of things includes seasons of preparation and seasons of harvest. It includes periods of apparent stagnation that are actually invisible growth. It includes failures that are necessary redirections. It took Steve Jobs decades to build the Apple we know today. For years, it felt like he was going around in circles. But each experience, including being fired from his own company, was part of a larger process that he couldn't see at the time. Your life also has perfect timing, even when it doesn't seem like it. That job you didn't get forced you to develop other skills. That relationship that ended taught you what you truly value. Those years of struggle gave you the strength you'll need to take it to the next level. How do you practice amor fati in real life? First, stop comparing your timeline to other people's. Everyone has their own unique pace of development. Second, trust the process even when you don't see immediate results. Bamboo grows invisibly for years before exploding 100 feet in a few weeks. Third, find purpose in the current phase of your journey. If you are in a preparation phase, prepare with excellence. If you are in an action phase, act with determination. If you are in a pause phase, rest with intention. When you master this last code, something magical happens. You stop fighting life and start dancing with it. You maintain ambition without anxiety, you work hard without despair, you seek growth without losing peace. And now that you've unlocked the 10 Stoic codes of true success, it's time for the final transformation. Congratulations! You have just completed a journey of transformation that few have the courage to undertake. In the last few minutes, together we have unlocked 10 ancestral codes that have the power to completely revolutionize your relationship with success, problems, and life. Let's quickly recap your new mental programming. You have redefined success as excellence of character, not just external achievement. You have learned to focus all your energy on what is within your control, freeing yourself from the anxiety of the uncontrollable. You have discovered how to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth. You have disciplined your desires to find fulfillment in the present. You have developed resilience through intelligent mental preparation. You've learned how to build relationships based on virtue, which become your most valuable support network. You've cultivated a cosmic perspective to maintain balance in any situation. You've activated gratitude as a daily transformative force. You've learned to act with purpose and relentless consistency. And finally, you've embraced life's natural timing with amor fati. These 10 codes are not just concepts, they are practical tools that you can use immediately. Each of them has been tested for millennia by humanity's greatest teachers and validated by modern neuroscience. But here's what you need to understand. Knowing these codes isn't enough. You need to implement them. Start today. Pick one code that resonates with you the most and practice it for the next 30 days. Then add another. And another. Your transformation won't happen overnight. It will happen day by day, choice by choice, code by code. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. The Stoics weren't superhumans. They were ordinary people who chose to live by extraordinary principles. And now you have the same principles. If this video impacted your life, leave a like so more people can discover these transformative codes. Comment which code caught your attention the most and how you will implement it. And subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of growth with me. Remember, true success is not a destination, it's a way of traveling. And now you have the map. Until the next journey of transformation.